Coming with a message, of course. And I want to jump right into it. You see the title, What is Spiritual Warfare? I wanted to come on because I found myself talking about spiritual warfare with a lot of my clients today. And so, anytime that happens, it clearly shows me that there's a collective message that may be um, present. You know, there may be a spiritual, divine assignment that is being revealed to us. And so I wanted to come forward with a little talk on this whole idea of spiritual warfare. Now, in my experience, when I would hear, we're at spiritual warfare, it's a spiritual warfare, I do understand and have understood for a long time that um, we do not like, there's a lot going on in the unseen, right? There is this material world, but there's much that's happening in the unseen that is producing what we're seeing. So at the highest level, much of what's happening is in the unseen. And so I understand that. But when I would hear people talk about spiritual warfare, it's almost like the language was like, we're always in a fight. We got to fight. We got to fight. We have to be warriors. We're always in a fight. And just my natural being, just my whole personality, I don't sign up for fights. I'd rather not be fighting. I'd rather be at peace. I don't want to think about my life as a fight. That's not attractive to me. If I start to feel resistance or a fight in my life, I'm definitely trying to figure out why am I feeling like this, and I need to make some shifts. I need to make some changes. So the idea of accepting that we are all in a spiritual warfare was like, nah, I don't know about that. I need to understand it. But as I've gotten to understand spirit, as I've gotten to understand words, as I've gotten to understand the dynamics of life, I totally understand spiritual warfare. So just wanted to kind of offer my perspective on it, just from the thoughts I'm having, the conversations I'm having with the collective, and the things I'm seeing, what I'm observing, and what spirit is really advising when it comes to how do we approach the dynamic of that is spiritual warfare. How do we approach that? So I want to get into it. So listen, I'm one that whenever I'm looking at a concept or whenever I'm finding understanding about something, one of the first things I'm going to do is look up the word that's associated with it. The words that's associated with spiritual warfare is spiritual, war, and fair. There's a couple other words, but I'm going to focus on spiritual. What does that really mean? What are we talking about here when we talk about spiritual? War. What is war? Fair. What is fair? And then we're going to talk about arms, because within the meaning of the word war, you find the word arms. So let me share what the etymology. I often, yes, I'll look up the definition and see what a word means, but I like to look up the etymology. I got a few people tuned in live, so can y'all give me a thumbs up if my sound is good? I just want to make sure. I didn't have an opportunity to do that, but I hope it is. I'm going to keep flowing as if it is. So spiritual, the etymology of spiritual. I tend to look at etymology because the etymology of a word is going to reveal what is the essence or the original meaning of the word. Why is that important? Because the original meaning of a word holds the vibration of the word. So if you're using that word, or if you're subscribing to that word, or if that word is connected to whatever you're doing, that word holds a certain energy. And so I like to look at the etymology. As I've studied etymology over the years, there's some words that I have deleted out of my vocabulary, okay, because of what the true, real meaning of that word is, and I don't want to be associated with it. One of those words is care. So I have strategically and continue to wash that word from my language, because the etymology of the word care, I don't want to have any parts of it. And so it's interesting because we oftentimes are concerned that people may feel like we don't care about them. I don't want them to think I don't care. I want to make sure that I, I'm doing this because I care. And it's like, so that's becomes a big part of people's lives, this thing of notion about care. When I studied the actual word, looked up the etymology, start understanding the vibration and the essence of that word, said, no, we have to disassociate from that. Now, compassionate, I can be compassionate. I can do all these things. Give me a thumbs up, sis, if you hear me all right. I can be compassionate, all these different things, but I'm going to make an effort not to hold care for anything or anyone. I'll find something different. So just wanted to give you some context on why am I talking about the etymology of a word, or why is this helpful when you're trying to understand something. Thank you, sis. When you're, and good to see you, by the way. When you're trying to understand something, especially if it's a concept that has a title or a word, this is called spiritual warfare. This has been coined spiritual warfare. Things do not have a name. Things that are named something, the name is trying to give you what this is. I'm naming this because I want you to know what this is. So if you don't know the true meaning of the word spiritual, or if you don't know the true meaning of the word war or fair, or it says take up arms in the definition of war, you don't know what the arms are, then you may think that you understand spiritual warfare, but you actually don't. You may think that you're properly equipped for spiritual warfare, but you're not. You may think you are winning a war, but you're not, because you don't even know what it is that you're fighting. Okay, there's the context of this whole conversation that I'm about to have. Because the sessions that I had today, and I had several, this conversation came up. This came up, and I a part of it was us really gaining a level of understanding about what is spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare. All right, so let's get into it. Spiritual, the etymology of spiritual. That's what we're talking about right now. The etymology of spiritual. All right, I'm gonna read it for you. Hold on one second. Let me just get rid of this commenter here. Put user in timeout. Nah. Hide user, remove. I'm going to hide this user. Or am I put user in timeout? Can I just let you go? I don't know if I want you here. Hide user, put user in timeout. We're gonna try that one for 24 hours. I give thanks. All right, look, you gotta learn how to use these things. It'll be off the chain. All right, so spiritual. Here's the etymology. The when the word was first created to describe something, this is what it said: spiritual, of or concerning the spirit, immaterial. So this is not material, immaterial, pertaining to spirit, of or pertaining to breath. Listen to that. Of or pertaining to breath, breathing, listen, wind, or air. Let me read that again. Spiritual, the etymology of spiritual, of or concerning the spirit, immaterial, pertaining to spirit, of or pertaining to breath, breathing, wind, or air. That is so significant to me, because if you're thinking about spiritual warfare, this is a fight, right? This is a fight for this is a fight concerning spirit, or the immaterial, things you can't see, things that are not in this physical world. And this is pertaining to the fight for your breath. Now, I wanted to highlight this here so I won't forget. When I read that, I immediately thought, listen, stress, when you are fighting against stress, or and that's regarding anything you got going on, stress in your relationship, stress on your job, stress within yourself, that is a warfare, because you're fighting to breathe. One of the first things that's affected that many don't even notice or even tell is your breath when you are stressed. That's why you lose your breath sometimes when you become afraid, right? Or this is why your shoulders feel tense when you're stressed, because you're not breathing. Breath is not going into your body properly. You're fighting for your breath. And it's so interesting how spiritual says, if it is spiritual, it is pertaining to breath, breathing, of breathing, linked directly to of the spirit. That's one point. Follow me now. War. What is the etymology of war? War is a contest between nations, people, or parties carried on by force of arms. And I'm going to just put in here that the etymology of the word arms is weapons of a warrior. So, war is a contest. Now, I didn't even go deep into what contest means, but we won't go. War is a contest. Who's stronger? Who's the winner? Who's the smartest? Contest. War is a contest between nations, people, or parties carried on by force of arms. Arms mean weapons of war, weapons of a warrior. So this war is carried on by force of weapons of the warrior. Now, nations, people, cities, in metaphysically are referencing thoughts, mindsets, states of consciousness. When you're reading a text, let's say scripture, let's say the Bible. When you're reading the Bible and they're mentioning different nations, it's saying that they are mentioning different mindsets and ways of thinking. Somebody put in the chat, in your chat, following, if you're following, okay? Because we're going there, but you're going to have to follow and take note if you want to hear what I'm really saying. Okay, especially in understanding spiritual warfare and how to be a winner, a winning warrior. You hear me? Okay. In metaphysical, okay, somebody said they following. In metaphysics, if you put on your metaphysical ear, if you function as a metaphysician as you're listening to these things, when it says a contest between nations, people, or parties, it's saying a contest between states of mind, states of consciousness, mindsets. Okay? Beliefs, perceptions, understandings. So, this is what it's talking about when it says war. This is a contest between those. Spiritual, remember, this is concerning the spirit or immaterial or things pertaining to the spirit. War is pertaining to a contest between nations, peoples, or parties, but we don't now have been clarified that nations, peoples, and parties represent mindset, thought patterns, beliefs, consciousness, and fair. The etymology of fair is journey, road, passage, expedition. Fair means to journey, to set forth, to go, to travel, to wander, to make one's way. That's a fair. Let's put that thing all together. Let's put it all in the pot and make sense of it. Queen, you got us, but come on, put it together for us. Put it together for us. Let's go. Spiritual warfare is us, using our weapons to win the contest between the contest between the various mindsets and states of consciousness that's present. And it is a journey, but it's also a passage. A passage, meaning you are going somewhere. You're trying to get to a destination. Spiritual warfare, either you are fighting it and fighting the good fight so that you can win, in the sense of you're able to settle in a consciousness that is life-giving, that is protective, that is peaceful, or you are under spiritual attack within spiritual warfare and you are losing the battle, most likely because your weapons ain't working, you're not strong enough, you're not you haven't been able to put up the fight. How do we put up a good fight in spiritual warfare? What would be your weapons that you would be using force with in this war that is spiritual? It's not material. Spiritual means concerning the spirit, or immaterial, pertaining to spirit, even pertaining to breath, wind, air. What would your force of arms or your weapons of this, you, the warrior, what would be your weapons? Your weapons, let's get into what is a weapon. What is a weapon? Let's look at what is a weapon. The etymology of the word weapon. Instrument of fighting and defense. Instrument of fighting and defense. It goes on to say also figuratively of spiritual combat, of spiritual combat. I'm not going to read the next one because that'll take me down a whole nother rabbit hole, but that's deep. Just look up the etymology of weapon and see what you see in there, and you're going to be shocked. I'm not even going to say that because I don't know if YouTube will ban me. I love YouTube. Let me say those words. Let them pick up on that. I love YouTube and I want to stay on YouTube. It is a great resource for me. I'm very excited about it. Listen, I don't want to say that word, but weapon. What would be your weapon? Now, I have a sister in the chat room saying the breath, your words, your mind. This is your weapons in the spiritual warfare. So let's go back to my original point. I will always hear about this spiritual warfare. You're in a spiritual warfare. You're in a spiritual warfare. And I'm like, man, listen, I don't want to receive that. I'm not receiving that. I'm not in the spiritual warfare. But as I begin to understand life and understand spirit and understand the world and understand all of these different things, you are by default in the midst of spiritual warfare. Things concerning the immaterial and a fight between two parties. In the cartoons, they depicted it as a white angel and a red angel, right? In terms that we use commonly, you call it good or bad, right or wrong, holy or sinful. What? How we say it? We're by default. If you are living and breathing, you are in the midst of a spiritual warfare. Question is, are you a warrior or are you a innocent bystander? Are you a warrior or are you just a bystander? Meaning you can be subjected to whatever happens. You can just, whatever happens, you can be subjected to it. You just, all type of stuff is trying to invoke you to, fight for what you think is right. Fight for what you think is right. But you don't really want to take on, you don't want to pick up your weapons. You ain't got no weapons. You ain't even trying to get no weapons. You're just a bystander. What are you? Are you a warrior or are you a bystander in the spiritual warfare? Because at the end of the day, we're all in the midst of a spiritual warfare. Okay. If you decide that you are a warrior, my question is, are you equipped for the war? Or have you underestimated? Or you don't know your opponent? A lot of people at war and you don't even know your opponent. A lot of people say, yes, I want to be a warrior, but you're not equipped. Your weapons are outdated. You have rocks and they have bazookas. Okay. You have, what you got arrows and they have not guns, rifles. That's how you lose the battle. Their weapons are stronger. Their weapons, they have equipment. They got bullets. You got guns, but you ain't got no bullets. They got all the bullets. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. But what you got to be, what are you doing? What do you have? What are your weapons? Are you upgrading your weapons? Some of us need to upgrade from just prayer, honey. You need to add in some rituals. Because the nations or people or parties that's at war, baby, you gotta elevate your weapons. Not to say prayer is not good, but you need to be situational. You need to, if you notice that you have a strong prayer life, but you're still observing certain things that's calling your spirit to push, go farther, ascend more, do something, then you need to consider, well, what can I add into my regimen, my spiritual practices that can help me to win this battle over doubt, a nation. What is war? Contest between nations, peoples, or parties. Let's name some of these people from a metaphysical standpoint. Keep in mind, when nations, cities, people, parties are mentioned in scripture, if you look at it metaphysically, it's talking about mindsets, thoughts, thought patterns, perceptions, attitudes, understandings. That's what it's talking about. So if you have been at war with doubt in your life, maybe you need to upgrade your weapons. Maybe instead of just your typical morning routine, you need to add in some ritual. Maybe you need to add in some serious subconscious work. You need to add in some reprogramming of your subconscious to fight that war. Arms. What is arms? It says a war is contest between nations, peoples, or parties carried on by force of arms. The arms is the weapons of your war of a warrior. The weapons of a spiritual warrior is prayer, meditation, breath work, mantra, scripture, ritual, ceremony, art, spiritual medicine, potions, fasting and praying. So my message today, because I could go on and on forever. I pray this is something that has brought a level of clarity to whomever has tuned in. That means this message was for you. Y'all already know I don't go live too much, but if I do, I got a message, and it's for the collective. We are by default in the midst of a spiritual warfare always. Spiritual means concerning the spirit, immaterial, the unseen world. Warfare means a fight, a journey that has a fight connected to it, some kind of warring connected to it, a battle connected to it. Now, y'all know I'm one that always say we don't need to be trying to force fight or fix anything. And so when I'm saying fight in this term, I mean not a fight in how we do. We resist. We fight in the feeling. We resist. I'm talking about a natural resistance that's necessary if you want change. This is what I'm talking about. We're always in that. Your inner being is going to create a fight for you so that things can change. Sadness, anger, fear, these things show up to for you to know change got to come. We got to know this is not in alignment. This is not in alignment with your greatest good. It's never going to feel good. You can get temporary gratification out of something to help you to not be so mad about it, sad about it, scared about it. But it's something you're going to have to do. You're going to have to carry on by force your weapons. You're going to have to carry on this fight with your weapons. Okay? This, if the doubt you just cannot seem to grow in faith. Okay, well, what you're going to have to elevate your weapons, baby. Because doubt is absolutely one of them nations or peoples or parties metaphysically. Doubt is one of those spiritual um opponents, that spiritual meaning pertaining to the unseen, that shows up, and it mostly show up in your mind via your ego, that is connected to something that's creating a doubt. So maybe it's holding on to past experiences. Maybe it's holding on to things other people said. Maybe it's holding on to your limited mindset. Maybe whatever is creating this doubt. But you're going to have to fight it. You can't just sit around and want it. You're going to have to fight it. The message I gave all of the clients that this came up with today, and I'm just saying that's what inspired me, because it came up so many times. I wouldn't have guessed that. I hardly ever talk about spiritual warfare. You really won't hear me talking about spiritual warfare, but it naturally, organically, in a divine way came up in several sessions today. So I wanted to make sure we clear. Okay? We are in the midst of spiritual warfare. That's just what it is. There's nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to be afraid of it, because your spiritual walk, okay, should be a walk that has the weapons needed to successfully fight that fight. Your spiritual practice, your spiritual walk includes your spiritual practices. So if you are not winning the war against laziness, slothfulness, doubt, faithlessness, fear, willfulness, carnal willfulness, because there's a divine willfulness that we all need. But you're so willful. Spirit to keep telling you something. The spirit got to show you 10,000 times, or stuff got to hit the fan, or you got to lose everything, or you got to die. I mean, come on. That willfulness. If you're losing a battle against it, you're going to have to ramp up your weaponry. That's a t-shirt, huh? You're going to have to ramp up your weaponry. When I was fighting the battle of insecurity, I needed to establish trust within my heart. I needed to clear things out that was getting in the way of the deep levels of trust. I had gemstones I was working with. I had breath work I was working with, specific scriptures that I would read faithfully every single day. I had a couple of names of God I was working with when I was doing my zikring, or when I was in my remembrance. All those things was happening. I fasted from listening to other people. I stopped reading the books. I stopped watching the YouTube videos. I started seeking spirit for divine intelligence to speak to me. And I practiced trusting spirit, which means trusting myself. I had to practice it. I was at war with it. Because everything in this world, everything in the school system, everything in the way we are reared and groomed, cultivates distrust within the self, cultivates insecurity, cultivate low self-esteem, low self-concept. This world does that. It cultivates that. As soon as you start elevating in spirit, you start elevating in consciousness, one of the first things you're going to begin to elevate in is your self-esteem, is your self-concept, is your trust in self. You're going to notice, I need to learn how to trust myself. You're welcome, sister. I need to learn. It's going to be natural. You're going to start. I need to learn how to trust myself, man. I'm noticing. I feel like I got to ask somebody else. I'm noticing. I'm seeking outside validation. I'm noticing. But that's a war. It's not just something you can intellectually think, oh, I want to trust more in myself and it's going to just happen. You got to fight for that trust. You got to, and a lot of this fight, y'all, most of it, if not all of it, it's in the mind, it's in the heart, it's in the soul. Because the reason why you're doing things outside of yourself or seeking outside validation is because within your mind, you don't believe you're trustworthy for whatever the reasons are. Maybe you let yourself down too much. Maybe people in your life have told you you're not trustworthy. Maybe people in your life have told you you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not holy enough, you're not religious enough, you're not what am I trying to say? You're not bougie enough. I don't know. It's another word. It wasn't bougie, but you're not the word I'm trying to, it won't come to me. You're not it won't come. But people will make you feel like you don't wear the right clothes, you don't speak the right language, you don't have the not you got to act, you talk the way you talk is not right, the way you think is not right, the way you operate your life is not right, the way you process is not right, the problems you have is not right. People will make you feel that way. You're allowing people to make you feel that way because you're allowing people to have access to your mind and to your heart and to your soul. And if you're allowing others to have access to it and you're influenced by it, then you are not tuning in to your mind, your heart, and your soul to gain access to divine knowledge, understanding, wisdom, which can only come from within. And you can only tap that through prayer, through meditation, through inner work. You can only tap that through that. Through tuning into intuition, tuning into divine synchronicities, tuning into the divine design of the life, the world, nature. You got to tune in. That's the only way you're going to get access to divine intelligence, something of the unseen, spiritual intelligence. What is spiritual? Concerning the spirit. It's immaterial, pertaining to spirit. How you think you're going to get access to that? You can't get access to the material like that. You can't get access to spiritual wisdom by trying to get wisdom from a person or a thing. If it is a person or a thing, you have to be tuning in on a spiritual level. You want to get wisdom for the sunflower? Seek the spiritual essence of a sunflower. The unseen. What don't we see on the surface? What can't we see that's actually happening with this sunflower? Beneath the surface. This whole spiritual warfare came up with one of the first clients because one of the things I said immediately once she began to tell me some things she was experiencing that was, pretty significant, that was pretty noticeable. One of the things I said was, okay, what do you think the message is? What do you think is going on beneath the surface? What is the message? What do you think what can you see out of this? What can you put together? You can tell me what's happening in the physical world, and it can be downright disgusting. It can be something you don't want to experience. It can be all of those different things. But what is beneath the surface with that thing that's happening? Oftentimes, we're in the midst of a spiritual warfare, but we're too caught up in the material. You think this is a material warfare, and it's a spiritual warfare. It's pertaining to immaterial things of the unseen. We're too busy wanting to be a victim, point blame, put blame on somebody, then fall into shame, fall into whatever we fall into. No, it's a spiritual warfare. So what's going on beneath the surface? What can I see? So it behooves us to really understand what spiritual warfare is. I did in the description, I put the etymology of these words in the description of this video. This is the etymology of this word. Go and study the words, y'all. We hear concepts and you can Google it and ChatGPT can give you what does it mean and all of this. You can get the conclusions from others, but go pull it apart, get the meaning of the parts and put it together through your own divine intelligence. So what does that mean? What do you make of the concept? What do you make of spiritual warfare? And how does it show up in your life? As you understand what it means, where do you see it happening right now in your life? Or do you realize you're pretty much at spiritual warfare all the time, but my weapons are up to par? Or are they not? So you got to elevate your weapons. So with this first client that I keep mentioning, I said, listen, I know you're doing. She told me everything that she does on a daily basis, because I asked her. I said, what's your spiritual practice like? What you got going on? What you do? You know how? Or I might have said, let me remind you. I keep telling you, you need to make sure you're approaching this from spirit. I think that's what I mentioned to her. We can approach all these things that you're bringing up in your sessions from the physical world. We can come up with solutions. We can work those solutions. We can get somewhere. But make sure you're not just focusing on what's going on in the physical, making progress in the physical, but you're not making progress in the spiritual, because then you're going to continue to have to fight for the progress in the physical if you're not fighting the spiritual warfare. That's how we find ourselves in life loops. You feel like you're making it out and you made it, and then here you go, you're going through it again with a different person, different job, different relationship. You're dealing with the same thing. What's happening? You're not approaching it from a spiritual warfare standpoint. So I let the sister know. I said, hey, sis, she told me everything that she does. I said, okay, you need to add in this. Let's add this in. And if you need help with that, let's talk about that. Let's get you more equipped with the proper weapons to fight the good fight that you are fighting currently with this situation and this circumstance. Because I say all the time, every circumstance, every situation that you deal with is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to see something, for you to elevate. Every circumstance and situation is placed in your life intentionally. It is by divine design that you're going through what you're going through right now. And there's a reason you're going through it. Don't get caught up on the surface. You should constantly be asking, what am I learning? What am I seeing? What am I getting from this? What can I see from this? What could this be showing me? My son, he be fussing at me when he hear me reference him in my videos or on my radio show. Mom. Anyway, my son, one time he was losing his wallet every other month, probably more than that. I said, bro, he knew, but he knew. He called me one day, Mom. He was frustrated at the mom. Mom, what do you mean to keep losing stuff? He knew it meant something. And I had to emphasize to him, it does mean something. You need to pay attention. And ask yourself, what does it mean? What do you think it could mean? And if you can, I'm not against, you looking up other people's perspective on it. I say that by, if you type in, what does it mean to keep losing my wallet? You're only going to get other people's perspectives about it. But I say, look at what's going on in your life holistically. Now, constantly losing things, what could that be telling you? If you look at everything that's going on in your life right now, what has been going on in the past, if you look at all of that, what could me not being able to hold on to specifically? He was losing his wallet. You got to ask yourself, okay, wallet, what does that have to do with? Currency, identity? What else wallet have to do with? Storage, security? You got to think. One of your weapons is also reflection, awareness, meditating on something. Meditating ain't always just sitting quiet and de-stressing. Meditating is when you put focus, concentration, or attention on a matter. Meditate on it. Wallet. Why would I be losing my wallet? Identity, currency, credit, debt. All of that got something to do with wallet. Well, I keep losing it. Losing. What does the word loss mean? What does the word lose mean? What does it mean to lose? What's the opposite to lose? All of these things are to to be considered. You consider these things and you'll start getting some messages. You can only get these messages if you concentrate on it, if you meditate on it. Okay. So I told the sister, I said, look, we're gonna ramp this. You gotta ramp your, we gotta ramp your weaponry up. We didn't say it like that at the moment. I'm just saying in the context of the word war, what the meaning of the word war is. You can't really go at war and win if you don't have weapons, warrior. So reflect. What I like to always leave people with something to reflect upon and also something to affirm. Those are just a habit of mine I've gotten over the years. What is the reflection? The reflection is, what spiritual warfares am I fighting at the moment? Am I equipped to win the war? Do I feel confident? Because what was that? I think I was listening to a Greg Braden video, and he was saying that the warriors go and they do something. And he said, but one of the requirements is nobody can come who has fear. Everybody who comes has to be expecting a win. They're not doubting anything. They're going in expecting to win. Oh, we got this. Yes, we got this. Okay, but any winner, especially champion, any champion is going to go in with that attitude. Oh, no, we got this. What do you think about your competition? Oh, we don't have no competition. Mm-mm. We have an opponent, but we don't have competition. See what I did there? Ask yourself, where in my life am I experiencing spiritual warfare? Clearly. And am I equipped? Am I winning? And if you don't feel like you're equipped, then what do I need to do to be better equipped at fighting this war? Do I need to meditate more? Do I need to pray more? Do I need to sleep more? Do I need to move my body more? Do I need to read scripture more? Do I need to be around more motivational, positive, inspirational people? Do I need to change my environment? Do I need to change my job? Do I need to end this relationship? Do I need to allow this relationship? What is it that you need to do? And that you do by force, not just as a bystander. You are intentionally, with action, doing it. Okay? And then do it. So you may ask, well, Queen Yin, what does spiritual warfare look like? It look like can't get past. It looks like a looming fear. It looks like a looming sadness, a looming anger, looming shame, looming guilt, looming anxiety. That's spiritual warfare. It looks like chaos. You in a whole bunch of accidents. You getting a whole bunch of injuries. It looks like dis-ease. You're dealing with the dis-ease. Whether it's something that we deem to be severe or something we deem to be not severe, at the end of the day, our bodies are not supposed to be in a state of dis-ease because we are living, breathing beings. Dis-ease, sickness, is a spiritual warfare. Chaos is a spiritual warfare. Constantly experiencing violence is a spiritual warfare. Constantly experiencing arguments and disagreements is a spiritual warfare. Constantly being stopped by your mind from doing things is a spiritual warfare. Double-mindedness is a spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual warfare. Indecisiveness, spiritual warfare. I'm starting to sound like let me stop. I'm starting to sound like some of the fear-mongering preachers and prophets or whatever that you know how they do. Get clicks, and when people love to hear that. Yes, we are the spiritual. What you doing about it? We ain't here to just talk about it. Okay. because we're in spiritual warfare, because we're spiritual beings, and in a life of duality, there is war. Period. So don't hold on to it too much. Don't make too much meaning of it. It is what it is. Ain't nothing to be scared about. Ain't nothing to be all caught up in. No. They say some of the greatest warriors are those who, when you see them, you would never know. They are so at peace. The peaceful warriors. They say those are the greatest ones. But by all means, they are warriors. I don't have to walk around mad, sad, scared to be a warrior. That is I don't know. I guess movies and all of that has made that to be the image of a warrior. That's not a warrior. A warrior is somebody who can fight a good fight and have the weapons that are equipped. They are equipped. That's the good warrior. Period. And the warrior don't have to be scared or mad or none of that. It is what it is. When I'm being called to duty, it is what it is. So, reflection. Where in my life am I facing spiritual warfare? Do I feel like I'm equipped? Do I need to level up my weapons? Do I need to level up my spiritual practice? What are the weapons? I talked about what is the spiritual warfare. How does it show up? What are your weapons? Your weapons are how you can fight fight during those times. So how do I fight doubt? With truth. I fight doubt with truth. If something comes to my mind where I'm doubting myself on doing something, I say affirmations of truth to dead that in my mind. How do I fight lack? I fight the thoughts of lack with truth. The truth is, lack is an illusion. There is no lack. The nature of life is abundant. And I'm so grateful to be in a garden that shows me that all the time. I keep using this example until they gone. I'm going to keep using them. There's a watermelon and a cantaloupe vine right now growing around my well station. Did I plant those seeds? Absolutely not. Someone enjoyed their watermelon and cantaloupe near the well, spat the seeds out, and it took root and grew. With just because of the nature of life. The nature of life is abundance. You see that in your body doing what it needs to do to heal when you go to sleep. You see that when a bone is broken and immediately start to co-conspire. It immediately starts the process of healing immediately once it's broken. Hello, somebody. Immediately once it breaks, it starts the process of healing. That happens. The body shows us the nature of life. Nature shows us the nature of life. The birds literally can come and stand in a spot, sit there for a second, put their beak down at the perfect divine time to pull out the worms. Come on, somebody. These are the things when I face thoughts of lack, when I face spiritual warfare, doubt, fear, lack, truth becomes my weapon. Prayer becomes my weapon. Prayer is proclaiming. I'm not begging anything. Proclaiming, remembering. Prayer is remembering and proclaiming. Prayer is my weapon. Affirmations are my weapons. Renunciation is my weapon. Scripting is one of my weapons. Imagination is one of my weapons. Positive thinking is one of my weapons. Positive speaking is one of my weapons. My dream life, working with my dream life is a weapon. This is how I'm fighting the good fight. Hanging around positive people. Healthy boundaries that honor what I am. Healthy boundaries for myself and others. My boundaries are really mine. They ain't have nothing to do with everybody else. These are my boundaries. This is how I fight the good fight. This is how we fight the good fight. I keep saying I, but I am, and we the same. It's one. I. I'm talking about the I, the divine man, and the divine man acknowledges divine man in you. So we. So when I say I, I'm saying we. Okay. Most times I'm saying we. But if you hear me say I'm talking about we. This is how we fight the good fight. We ain't praying just to be pious. Don't be praying or holding no spiritual walk just to be cute, just to be righteous, just to feel noble, just to feel like you're being righteous. No, it's a war. It's a war. It's a war. With every difficulty comes ease. If a circumstance or situation in your life shows up, the answer is there too. You just got to get quiet and see where it is. Okay. Now I would have to go on a whole nother rant to try to talk about that. But I'm just saying. With every difficulty comes ease. With every circumstance or situation that you deal with, the answers are there. With every desire and goal and passion and whatever assignment God puts in your heart, it comes with everything you need. Learn from the caterpillar. Learn from the caterpillar. Learn from the bees. Learn from all of them. The birds ain't got to go over here and depend on. I'm depending on them, and maybe look at them. They look like they know what they're doing. Let me go over here. No, they have the intelligence, all the intelligence they need to eat, to build their structure, to birth babies, to feed babies, to build colonies, to find what they need. No, divine intelligence is there. Same way with you. I'm gonna close on now, but let me say this: I have chickens now. I'm raising chickens here at the garden. And it's getting cold. It's my first season with the chickens where it's now getting cold. And of course, I'm a mama, so I'm thinking, now how my chickens gonna stay warm? How my chickens gonna stay warm? And I said, okay. Well, I started looking up, and one of the things that I saw, it said, they have a natural adaptability. A reminder. We are divinely equipped with everything we need in every season. Alhamdulillah. We just gotta remember. We just gotta remember. One of your greatest weapons in your weaponry is remembrance. And this remembrance is of the reality of God, of the truth of life. One of your greatest weapons is your remembrance. When the mind comes, when the ego starts to get in your head, stir up your heart, you start to forget. You start to dismember yourself. So it's essential for you to remember. Remember. Remember the reality. It's only one reality, and that's the reality of what I call God. That's the reality of life. That's the reality of abundance. Reality of omniscience. Reality of omnipotence. That's the reality. Remember, that's your greatest weapon. Within this remembrance, that can look like the breath. Remember to breathe. And affirm to yourself, nothing really serious is happening here. Everything is always working out. Everything is in divine order. Everything is divinely designed. Within this divine design, everything I need is there. That's your affirmation. Those are your affirmations. I said I want to leave you with a reflection and an affirmation. A great affirmation to continuously say out loud to yourself or internally to yourself is, everything is divinely designed. Therefore, everything that I need, everything I need comes divinely with this journey of mine. Everything I need, the teachers, the knowledge, the support, the love, the resources, everything. Come out of lack so you can see them. Meditate so you can slow the mind down so that you can see them. Get off around them folks who are negative so you can see all the things that are here for you. Stop scrolling at night and read a book, read something, read something edifying, read something constructive, or just don't scroll. Breathe. Switch up your diet so you're functioning on a high vibratory place, so your intuition is more keen. You can hear more clearly. You can see more clearly. These are just little ways. This is how. It could all be so simple, but we rather make it hard. We don't want to do it. We become lazy. I fight the lazy fight. We become lazy. We don't want to stay consistent. We got too much to do. What do you have to do greater than connecting with the source? I'm on a schedule. Time. By the time man is at loss, time. I'm on the schedule. I got to get up early. I got to go to bed on time. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I got to do. Meanwhile, your being is suffering and losing the war, the spiritual warfare. Come on, somebody. Let me go. All right. I'm finished. My mic done went dead. So I hope y'all still hearing me. I didn't expect this to be so long, but alhamdulillah for the message. Let me close out with a word of prayer. We give thanks for this message right now. I pray that it reaches the ears that it needs to reach, and that the message is clear. They're able to take away the message. They're able to take away the assignment and take away the affirmation. I affirm, I speak, I give thanks that we have nothing to be afraid of. I affirm, I speak, I proclaim that we have everything we need to not only survive, but thrive on this journey that we have been given. Each one of us in a unique way, all supported by the same source. We are grateful. We are grateful. May we grow in our strength. May we grow in our power. May we grow in our resilience. May we grow in our intuition. May we grow in our wisdom. May we grow in our knowledge. May we grow in our love and support. And may we stay the course with our heads up, our minds clear, our hearts light, shining as children of the source, as children of God. Shining our light. Ashe. Amen. Amen. We give thanks for the message, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little while. I pray that it was fruitful for you. I'm going to go ahead and let this post online, but I'm also going to put this in my app. So I'm going to go ahead and post this in the app as well. If you haven't joined the app yet, I'm going to put how you can join the app in the description. Joining the app will keep you in contact with us on a daily basis. I'm going to post this in as our daily message on the app. Some of you all know me to be on Group Me. I am transitioning from Group Me. I'm doing more correspondence in the app. A lot of you all have transitioned over to the app, but some of you are haven't come over. So I definitely encourage you to do that. You can go to my website, ouministries.com, look under what we offer, go to all memberships or memberships, and you will see how you can come on over into the well house. Oyun's well house is what I call it. Oyun's well house, baby. And it's a deep well that can quench your thirst. A deep well, alhamdulillah. And it's just growing. I just launched it. So I haven't even put everything that I want to put on there yet. And I'm excited to put it on there because I got about 300 meditations I haven't even up. Oh, my goodness. When them meditations go on there, these are all the meditations from those. Y'all done know me. Some of y'all done know me since then. These are the meditations all the way back from 2019. Yes. They're going on the app too, so make sure y'all join there. All right, peace and love, y'all. So much love to you. Stay strong, warriors. Stay strong and keep your